Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, gentlemen.
The UFL. The UFL.
New York, Miami, California, UFL. So let me take that back. And welcome UFL.
An epic night so far.
Show me the money!
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. But you gotta be willing to take the hit and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
The UFL. The UFL.
Welcome to the new owners.
So let me take that back and show it some love.
Peace.
Would you mind saying that again?
Welcome to the new owners.
The last really hurt.
This league is not for everybody.
Are you asking me?
People want to see what's going on with the show because maybe their league is not running as well.
Why do we have to go through this process?
This is going global.
Sitting at the top.
So let me take that back.
It looks like we're having some technical issues. Unit, your phone is coming up on us.
My cell phone is attached to my hip. Are you asking me? So let me take that back. It's over just a couple of minutes ago. I'll always remember him as Don Go. But his new gamer tag is Sábado Gigante. Correct? Or Dynamite? What is it? Dynamite?
Welcome. Man, I'm going to change the tone. Because it's time to make it happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think he kind of ran away from the division because he knew all the
This league is all about integrity, respect.
I'm sitting at the top. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sitting at the top.
This is good.
I'm sitting at the top. The UFL. The UFL.
Alright, welcome to the UFL. I'm all suited up with a little D unit pregame there. That's kind of a throwback to the old radio shows that we used to do. Those things were a blast. I remember when I first joined listening to those things. It was great. G unit has so much energy, but him and Six did a great job on all the radio shows. So I decided it was time to have a playoff show. We haven't had a playoff show in forever. So season 33 is going along. I got my suit and tie on. I'm ready to kind of lead the way through this and just do some discussion about who's winning, who's losing, what looks good, what looks bad, and see how it goes from there. So it's a fun season. It's a lot like season 32 though. So we'll kind of dive into the teams, who's doing who's doing what. Look at the teams that might be making the playoffs. There's a lot of teams on the bubble. There's a lot of divisional smack talk going on in the forums right now. You'll see it back and forth, especially between D Unit and Q Blade going back and forth, and the Jets are being the quiet ones, and we'll see if the Jets may be the ones who end up taking it all. We'll see. It'll be a fun show. Just kind of want to go through some of the stuff we haven't looked at in a while. That'd be fun to start with an intro from the old UFL days. Got my suit and tie on. We're just ready to roll. So let's look and see here. Let's go to the website. We'll flip over to our next studio camera. Here we go. So we're going to start talking about who's hot, who's not. Let's go look at the power rankings real quick before we get into this. So let's go over here to our homepage in the UFL. If you guys aren't on Daddy Leagues, you need to get on there. Let me know your username. I think most of the owners are, but there's a lot of good information here. So you can kind of go through this week's game of the week, Panthers and Bucks. The Bucks won again. I think that's the only two losses of the Panthers. So we'll have to go back and look at that. Quincy Gaines, I guess he named the wide receiver after himself there. He was player of the week. Xavier Rhodes, player of the week. And then I added in the playoff bubble here. Now that we're closer to it, we'll kind of talk through this and kind of see who's what, who are they at. We're going to go AFC first, then move over to the NFC. Hoping to keep the show around 30 minutes if I can. Shorter, because I know maybe I thought about breaking up into two 15-minute videos, AFC and NFC. It depends how it's going, and we may do that. But let's talk AFC first. We got the Browns on top. That is unusual. So the Browns have really came through this season. And when we dive into their division here in a minute, it's going to be interesting because 5 weeks ago, it looked like a whole other team was going to be up there. And then the Raiders, defending Super Bowl champs. Interesting fact, Mike won Super Bowl last season. He's never had a season where he's won Super Bowl the first time in the Madden and didn't win again. He's always had a back-to-back every time he's won one. So it's going to be very interesting. And they got the Jags down there. Q and the Patriots. It's been a good season for him. He made an acquisition for a superstar running back. He's in a division that's pretty great. 6-5 might actually win the division if they keep winning out. It's going to see. And we'll go look at the Chargers. Silk being down that low, don't usually see him with 4 wins this time in the season, but we'll kind of go through and look at it and see. Then we got the Titans, and then looking at on the bubbles, we'll go through each of these teams' playoffs seasons to go. We got the Chiefs, the Jets, the Bengals, and the Dolphins. The Bengals, what a slide they've had. So we'll go look at that here in a second. Let's kind of talk about the Browns first. So we're going to flip over. We'll check the Browns season, how they've got here. Let's go check that out. Been a great season for J-Shot so far. So we'll take a look at the Browns. And if my kids barge in, I apologize. Alright, so we got the Browns. They beat the Ravens, beat the Steelers, beat the Bills, lost to the Bengals. This is when the Bengals were red hot. So something happened. This is a 20-point defeat here, and it looked like the season was going to be Bengals taking over. This looked like for the division lead, I believe. Then they beat the Steelers again. Beat the Cardinals, lost to the Patriots. This is Q. I mean, this is a great upset by Q pulling this off at the Patriots. He went into the bye week, came back and revenged against the Bengals. And we'll look at the Bengals in a little bit. Their streak is rough. I think the Browns were on a 4-game win streak and the Bengals were on a 5-game lose streak. So this was probably the first or second game in that lose streak for the Bengals. Then the Browns beat the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are having a great season. They've lost 2 games all year. Then they beat the Jets. The Jets, basically, their schedule's misleading because they're sitting there at 6-5, and they went 0-3 because they were on vacation at the first of the season. So don't let that 6-5 fool you. The Jets are a good team. And the 49ers filmed off a close win against PJ. Always a great Raiders. The Raiders are coming up. That's going to be a big game. Got the Titans coming up. That should be a good game. Dolphins, the unit. So these guys are going to be coming. Then we got the Ravens here. He's playing all right. He's no easy win. And then you got the Rams. So the Browns, J-Shot, he's having a good season so far with only 2 losses. He's got some tough matchups coming up. So let's see if he's able to hold on to that division. We'll kind of look at that division first and see who else is in that running for the leagues. Let's go look at that. I think that division was tight, and the Browns just started pulling away with it. Let's go check that division real quick before we move into any other teams, kind of go through it. We'll try to pick each winner, who we think is going to win, where they're at. We'll go to the AFC. All right, so we got the Browns sitting in first place, the Bengals sitting in second place. And what's crazy about this game, the Bengals are on the bubble too. They can get in. They got to turn it around. So they got a 5-game lose streak. Let's see how they did this week too. I don't know if they've played this week. I believe they won, but let's double check that. Going to look. Cleveland beat the 49ers. Oh, they haven't played. They played the Cardinals. Hopefully that game gets played. The Cardinals are kind of on a tank season too, so that win could shift the momentum back in their place to get them in that wild card hunt. So we got 11 games, 5 games to go. So he hasn't won the division yet. I mean, the Browns could. You saw how hard that schedule is going to be. The Bengals, let's go look at their schedule, see if they even got a chance to get in this division. The wild card may be a good spot for them, but let's go look at the Bengals real quick and see how they look. Should be a fun division. Either way, these guys talk a lot on the forum, so it's always fun to watch too. So should be interesting. Let's go look at the Bengals. All right. So they lost to the Seahawks. Let's look at this losing streak. They lost 3 points to the Rams. They lost 3 points to the Seahawks. Wow. 3 points to the Browns. That's devastating. Two points to the Jets. Holy crap, I didn't realize this. Now that is heartbreaking right there. That's just 1 or 2 mistakes. Game-changing differences there. What's even harder about those is 3 of those at home. Wow. Man, that's got to be devastating there. So they won a close one, and then it was a 3-point just, man, wow. Just go back and watch the tapes on these. That's a tough way to hit. I mean, this could be easily an undefeated team. It just, things just switched over. So the Bengals, man, don't count them off. They get in the playoffs in that wild card spot. We'll see. So they got the Cardinals this week, and I think they're playing pretty much for a first-round draft pick this season. The Cardinals, I think they made playoffs last year, and then this year they've kind of let off. And then you got the Steelers. The Steelers are never an easy match, so it should be interesting to see. I don't believe the Steelers are in the playoff hunt right now, though. Let's see what the Steelers record is sitting at. Pittsburgh's sitting at 4-6 right now. Then we got the 49ers. 49ers are sitting at 2-9. Chargers, they got 4 losses, so the Chargers are going to play this one hard. We play the Steelers again, and then we got the Bills. Bills are a good team. You go look at these games. He's putting up some decent stats. I think he just lost his quarterback. He's got Madden's grandson. But man, so it's reasonable to say he can win every one of these games if he comes out and plays. I think he'll be the favorite in every one of these except for the Chargers game. So if he won out and had one more loss, he ends up 10-6. That's probably going to put him in the wild card spot, I bet. There's no reason if he gets this thing turned around. But man, those devastating close losses, got to turn that around. The Jaguars put him up 6-38, so that'll be somebody who has to play in the playoffs. So I'm thinking this division's not over. It all depends how these next 3 weeks go. He needs to win out. PJ's going to be hard. That might be I said he was a favorite in all these games. He might be a pick 'em in this game. So we'll go back to that AFC division. Let's take a look at that and see what we got here. Man, I cannot believe all those close losses. That's just tough. I've had seasons like that where it just felt like nothing was going right and the breaks didn't go your way because, man, he could be. So the Ravens, they're out. There's no way. 7 losses unless something miraculous happens. They go 9-7 and everybody else loses out. Steelers at 4-6, though, as you saw, they played the Bengals twice, so they could really play into this playoff picture of the division. So if you go look at this, what I usually love to look at is division records. So they're 4-1, they're 3-1. These guys, they don't play each other anymore. They've already played each other both with 1 win and 1 loss. So it's going to be fun. They control their own destiny, the Browns do. J-Shot, I believe he made the playoffs last year. I have to go back and check, and maybe even division winner last year. So I think this division's wrapped up here. Let's go look at the next seed, the always famous AFC West division. So this division, we got the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. And the Broncos down here struggling. The Chiefs are not out of the playoffs. They're actually the number 7 team on the bubble. So I don't believe they played their game this week. This week they play Tennessee. So hopefully that game could be a big game. They get that 6th win. That could help them push up towards that wild card. That tie, though, that's tough when you got a tie. So they're actually playing Tennessee, who has the last wild card spot. So they're almost playing this week for a crucial game in the wild card. So the winner of the Chiefs and the Titans this week will be up for the division. So the Titans would fall to 6-5 if they lost, and they'd go 6-4-1. That half game tie would be the differential and put the Chiefs in. So it's almost like the playoffs start now for the Chiefs. But there's a lot of football. We'll go look at this division as well and see who they got left to play. So we got the Chargers and the Raiders. Let's see if they played. Let's go look at the Raiders real quick before we go to the Chargers. So we'll keep this moving. This might take a little longer than I thought because we're already at 13 minutes, so I apologize for how long the video is going to be. But it's been a while since we've done one. Maybe if we get back on schedules doing these, we could have more often. We have to go through every team. But I just think this would be kind of a neat way to look at the season, see how everybody's doing. It might end up being like a 45-minute video this time, but we'll see. I'll try not to keep it too short or too long. So they started off the season with 2 losses. Oh, we're going to go Raiders first. Let's go Raiders first. So let's don't spoil it with that. We're going to go Raiders. So the Raiders started off 3-game win streak, lost to the Jags. The Jags are making some noise this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the playoffs. This is definitely going to be fun to watch. Get the Colts, beat the Packers, and that's That's crazy. 43-15. That's kind of a statement game there, saying that hey, we're here to play. Beat the Chiefs, beat the Broncos, and then just lost to the Jets. This was a big win for the Jets. We just looked at that wild card run, and we'll talk about it in a little bit when we get to their division. But the Jets, this is a much-needed win. The Jets have some good quality wins. So they got the Browns left, which we just looked at the Browns. So this is going to be a big game. Both teams need to win. Browns, not as much as a must-win as the Raiders, but we'll see how that goes. And they got the Texans. They just switched ownership, so that should be interesting. They'll be fighting hard. Lions, they're going to be in the playoff hunt in a minute. We talked about at the NFC. So you'll be seeing me wearing Raiders jersey this weekend because I'd love to see the Lions lose because they hold the tiebreaker against me. They beat me earlier in the season in overtime. Then the Chiefs, who are still in the playoff hunt, and then the Chargers. So while this division is not wrapped up, the Chargers are one game behind, and they play them on the last week of the season. So this could be a very exciting Week 17. We'll look at these and see, because some of the NFC teams as well. I play the Eagles the last week of the season. That could bench our division. That last week could be insanely exciting. We have to do a follow-up Week 17 preview show to kind of keep it short. But while this division is not easy there. So let's look at the Chargers. They're on the heel. They're one game back. And they play the Bears. Michael's always a good player. D-Unit, he's got a hot streak going. He's playing much better now later in the season. He's got his defense kind of settled down. He's playing some good D. Getting a lot of turnovers. Then goes into the Bengals. So Bengals, as we saw, they're fighting to stay in. The Texans, new owner, coming over from the Colts. So we'll see how he does with the Texans. See if he's trying to get a draft pick or trying to play an upset. And then you get the Raiders. So there's a lot of football to be played here. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys come down to it. If they both win out, the Raiders and the Chargers, they'll be sitting here. One of them's going to end up in the wild card. It looks like for sure. Unless there's some upsets here. If there's some upsets, then we're going to be talking about some of these teams getting in off the bubble here. We'll go through the bubble teams in a few minutes, but that should be interesting. And let's go look at the Chiefs real quick in that division. They're on the bubble. So they got the Titans, who are actually the last team on the playoff bubble right now at 6-4. They got the Broncos. They got the Bears. They got to play Gene and the Packers. Gene and the Packers, this is a story where we talk about Aaron Rodgers has been out too. So he's still playing good football. He's lost a few games. I think he had a 3-game losing streak, actually, which is unusual. I don't know if I've ever seen him have a 3-game losing streak. Then they got the Raiders and the Jaguars. So, man, no easy task for these Chiefs to stay in the playoffs. They're basically starting the playoffs now against the Titans. And then they're going to have a Packers team who's going to be fighting for that division. The Lions really will look like a loss here for the Packers. And then they got to go at the Raiders, at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that is a monster last way to end the season. You got 3 road games against possibly top 5 players overall here, maybe possibly top 3 players in the league right now. So man, if the Chiefs get in, they earn it. They're going to have a rough road there. So on that bubble, we're talking about bubble teams here in a minute. The Chiefs, man, the odds are not in their favor. So let's go check out the Jags real quick, see how they're doing. Because they're actually leading their division as well. They're having a good season. Go take a look at that AFC. I think they're in the South, right? Yeah, okay, so they're in a battle with the Titans. We'll go look at their schedule, see who plays. So Titans this week, they play the Chiefs. They haven't played yet. The Jaguars must not have played yet either. No, they play Houston under new ownership, so we'll see how that does. Hopefully they come out playing hard with that new team. They traded away a lot of guys. They got a lot of young draft picks, but this is going to be interesting to see how these guys come out. So we basically, Texans haven't won anything, and then we got the Colts. But the Colts just shifted to the Texans, and we have a new TJ came in for the Colts, who used to be the Texans owner years ago, which you're going to see a turnaround on the Colts for sure. This division should be much better next season because these guys aren't going to have the 2 free wins that they've had this year. But the Jags, when you look at their schedule, they've beat some pretty good teams, and Titans probably as well. Let's go look at that and see how that's going to shake out on the schedule with the Jags real quick. All right. Look at the Jags. All right, we're at 18 minutes. So the Jags, they took a loss to the Titans. So if the Titans can get within a game, they may actually have some tiebreaker advantages here. Let's see. First of the season's tough to play a division opponent because still settling in. They came out, they got the Texans, the Colts. They beat the Raiders, they beat the Saints, then they beat the Titans again. So they split 1-1. So there could be some critical tiebreakers coming down here. They've already played, so we're not going to see any last season matchup like we're gonna see in the AFC West. But then they lost to the Bucs. The Bucs are on a roll. I think they're definitely undefeated. They were the hot team last year too, and then went out in the playoffs. So we'll see if they can get it together. The Bucs are definitely the Vegas favorites for the Super Bowl, probably from the NFC. You got the Broncos win a 6-3 high-scoring battle there. That's crazy. Got at the Chargers, lost that one to Silk. These games are going to probably be playoff rematches. And he just beat the Bengals, and you saw the talk on the boards where the Bengals saying they're a good team. The Bengals are a good team. They've had some close losses, and then I think the Jags just were fired up for this game coming out. So, but to end with the Jags, let's see if they can hold on. They go to the Texans, who haven't won a game this week. D-Unit, he's going to bring everything he's got. He's battling in. We talk about teams on the bubble. He's right there with them. So we'll go through that division next, I believe. Then the Colts. TJ, he hasn't played much Madden this year, not in our league anyways. We'll see. So this might be a rough game for TJ coming back, but I'm sure TJ will have it figured out. This is good that he gets a few games before next season to get kind of used to the new Madden. And then the Panthers. The Panthers have only lost to the Bucs all season. This to me is going to be the really substantial test for the Panthers. Are the Panthers really that good, or are they in a division with two teams that don't play and a great Bucs team? We'll find that out in this game right here. This is going to be big. The Falcons and the Chiefs, and we saw the Chiefs. They're either going to be super motivated for this game because they've pulled some great upsets and they're ready to make the playoffs, or they're going to be just devastated after taking some pretty big games. So this is going to be a big game for the Chiefs. Wow, so let's go look at the Titans real quick to see. This is not an easy schedule. I would say he's the favorite, though, in every game, and maybe say it's a pick 'em with the Panthers. So the odds are in his favor to only lose one more game. And if he only loses one more game, that would put him at possibly 12-4. And so that means that the Titans would have to win out to match that division, and then there would be all the tiebreaker guys. But let's go look at the Titans. So they play the Chiefs. That's a big game. I got to watch that tonight. I hope they play tonight. The Bucs. Wow, that's no easy task. But this is a statement game. These are the type of games you got to win if you're going to make a run in the playoffs. You beat these guys, and it kind of gives you the confidence you need for the playoffs. Because I mean, that's probably part of it is getting into the playoffs. He's been to the Super Bowl with another team, but he made a run not too long ago to the playoffs, so he's not a bad team. And then the Browns, Jay Shutt's on a hot season. And then he's got the Jets, and we'll talk about the Jets here in a minute, and then the Saints. So, man, the odds are saying that the division title is going to be tough for the Titans. But, I mean, they're not out of it, but definitely the Jags seem to have the favorable opportunity to win the division. But that wild card game, who knows? I mean, that could be a 7-loss team that still makes the wild card from the AFC. We'll look at that here in a minute. But man, let's see if they can get to 7 losses here. So let's just say they beat the Chiefs. They lose here, that gives them 5 losses. Say they lose to the Browns, that gives them 6 losses. And then this Jets game's a pick 'em. So 7 losses. If they end up with 7 losses, I think that might get them in the playoffs. Actually, tell you the truth, but if they win. It depends on the other games. Maybe not. It'd be very, very close. But I wouldn't want to go into the playoff picture with 7 losses. That's for sure, especially this Madden. So let's go look at the last division here. This is the division in the AFC that I love to watch in the forums. A little bit of unnecessary banter going back and forth, taking a little too personal. But it's nice when Q's winning and playing hard, the whole division. But like I said, there's one team that's been pretty quiet in all that talking, and it's the Jets. So we'll kind of look through all 3 of these teams real quick. The Bills, they just lost a franchise quarterback, so they're playing basically for pride, just trying to learn up right now. Not a bad team. You go look at their wins and losses. They're not getting whipped in these games. They're actually playing everybody pretty good. So don't let that 1-10 record fool you. They're a good ball club. So we got the Patriots with Q-Blade sitting up here. The Jets. These guys are good. They beat me. One of those wins was against me. They started the season, like I said, 0-3 on a vacation. Wish they'd have went vacation a couple of days longer so I could have got a win, but that didn't work that way. And then the Dolphins. But look at the streak. The Dolphins are on a 3-game win streak. They beat me too, so I've lost to the Jets and the Dolphins. I haven't played the Patriots yet. So maybe I can actually play into this playoff wins if I beat the Patriots, but it's not going to be easy. Q's got a great team. So let's go look at the division records real quick. So this is where it's interesting. Q is 4-1 in the division. So he's only got one more division game left, and I think it's against the Jets. So we'll go look at that in a minute. So we got 2-1 with the Jets. We got the Dolphins at 2-2. That's tough when you got 2 losses in the division already, and both of these guys might control their destiny. So these guys are actually on the wild card run too. So not only are they fighting for the division, they're fighting to get into the wild card spot. It's going to be interesting. Let's go check out the Patriots first. Then we'll go to the Jets and Dolphins. Kind of talk this out. I think they all play each other. So this is going to be a really fun division to watch going out. Let's check this out. All right. So the Patriots. They started off with 2 losses too. Wow. To the Redskins and the Bengals. Then the Jets. This game was a sim win. The Jets were still on vacation, so kind of nice to get a division sim win. That could end up being a pretty big tiebreaker if things fall in place. Then he beats the Steelers, and then he falls into the Eagles and the Chiefs, and then Q hit on his high run. He beat the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Bills. Looks like this was a sim win too, which is disappointing. And then the Bills again, another sim win. So 2 sim wins against the Bills. That's disappointing when you see those. And then this week, the heartbreaker game. I didn't get to see it. I need to go back and watch the video. They lost to the Dolphins by 1 point. And it looks like Miami scored 6 in the 4th as well. So I don't know how the scoring went. But wow, this was a time of possession's pretty even. Turnovers, wow. Turned it over 4 times. That defense in the Miami is legit. I mean, they're playing hard. So, yeah, they're in the running. I really would. The Bills with 2 sim losses are kind of disappointing to see there. Maybe they played and got disconnected or something. But he's got the Jets, the Ravens, the Giants. The Giants are good. The Giants are a team that are on the up and up. So their offensive line last season was questionable. They've built those guys up. They were all rookies, and now they're in their second year. They're playing strong. He's got me. Hopefully not an easy win. And then he's got the Texans. So he's got some tough teams here. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Texans, who are probably playing for a playoff draft pick there. So, man, that's no easy task. If he wins out, he'll win the division more than likely. But he doesn't play the Dolphins yet. They've already split 1-1 up above because he actually started his win streak here at 35-23 against the Dolphins. So that's going to be interesting. Let's go check out the Jets. This team's been quiet, so these are the guys that could sneak in here and just take this division. I believe they won the division last season as well. So as I said, they started on 3-game losing streak. Then they came in and they beat me pretty good by 11 points too. So and then they beat the Bills. Lost to the Ravens. The Ravens are not a bad team. They've had a few bad breaks. Beat the Redskins. Beat the Dolphins. Wow, 12-9. That was a great defensive battle. I think they got to play again. So I believe the Jets control their own destiny. They play the Dolphins and the Patriots coming up. Then they beat the Bengals. They lost to the Browns. And then they beat the Raiders. This was a big game here. So, I mean, if the Jets get into the playoffs, a win like that really helps your confidence. You beat one of the top guys, defending Super Bowl champ. But then this week he plays the Patriots. That's going to be a great game to watch. That may be a very high tuned-in game. Then he's got the Giants, and the Giants are no easy win. The Giants play hard. They have a few breaks of their schedule. They'll probably be in the top of the NFC East. Just a couple of breaks didn't fall their way. The Bills, who seem to be playing for picks, we'll see. Titans in the hunt, and then D-Unit and the Dolphins. So this could be a very, very fun game here, depending how it shakes out. This could be the matchup that is like we saw before with the Chargers and the Raiders for playoff position. Not only playoff division title, it could be a wild card game too. The loser may be out, and the winner may be in. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. So they control their own destiny. Let's go look at the Dolphins, who are having a great season as well. Let's kind of look and see how they got here. So they got beat by the Bengals. They beat the Giants. They beat the Steelers. They lost to the Eagles. Lost to the Redskins. Man, once you can't beat these guys, you beat me, you should beat these guys, which that stinks for me, but good for him. All right. The Ravens beat the Ravens. Lost to Q-Blade. This is what started the controversy because the other seasons, not so sure that they've had a whole lot on the line to play for, but this season both teams are in the running, so interesting to see here. And he lost to the Jets in a defensive just juggernaut battle here. Beat the Bills, beat the Cowboys. This game I was driving down to try to tie it at the end of the game, and he picked six it, run it back, and set the game ahead. And then he beats the Patriots by 1 point. So that keeps alive. He plays the Jags this week. That's gonna be a knockdown drag out. Then he goes to the Chargers, the Browns, the Bills, and the Jets. Wow. So in this division, I gotta say, the Dolphins have the hardest road to the playoffs in division and the wild card. So, wow. But we said 7 wins might get you still in the playoffs in this AFC, because I think 6-4 is the lowest on the bracket right now. So that's, man, 10-6 will probably almost guarantee you a playoff. So if he only loses 2 out of these, but man, that's tough. You only got 2 home games, and they're against some really good teams. Wow. D-Unit, we're gonna be tuning in to watch you battle these out, because these broadcasts are the best. So I love his recaps. I love the excitement. I love the energy. Wish I had a little bit of that charisma. Probably make these videos a little more exciting. But man, this is already at 30 minutes. We went through the whole AFC. Let's kind of go back and look at the UFL map here. So we talked about the breakout. We got the Browns, Raiders, Jags, and the Patriots. I don't know if this updated after their loss, but it may have. Then we got the Chargers and the Titans, and the teams fighting to get in. We got the Chiefs, who we saw had a tough schedule. The Jets, who kind of control their own destiny. I mean, take away that 3 games, they're really 6-2 in games they've actually played. So that's going to be interesting. And then the Bengals, if they can just get this turned around, they're not out of it yet either. So they could possibly sneak up here into this wild card. Getting the division is going to be tough, but it's not out of the question. And then as we saw, the Dolphins, man, they've got a tough schedule. So this is going to be a wire, down to the wire game. Holy smokes. So I'm already at 30 minutes. I think I'm going to cut this one off right now for the AFC show, and then do an NFC show here in a minute. Get me some water, get me something to drink. I'm a little thirsty. I want to keep these videos kind of short because people don't want to watch 30 minutes on YouTube, but I'm going to cut this off, end it now, come back with an NFC playoff show, and we'll talk about the NFC craziness that's going on as well, kind of like we did the AFC. All right.